women to nurse their children.
Are you mansplaining to me what chair I should like to nurse my children in?
No, I'm just saying it's a proven design for the habit of rocking children and nursing children.
Great way to start a female-focused podcast.
I'm just.
I'm Maya Flirt.
I'm John Valancourt.
And we bicker like a married couple because we are a married couple.
A very submissive husband.
You're a great husband with questionable taste in chairs.
Let's move past the chair because I really like that rocking chair.
We are going to chat about all things women's hockey today. Coach here is knee deep in the middle of his season, so it's going to be a short and sweet one today, but that's all good. For starters, tell us what happened with U18 this week. Was that yesterday?
No, I think it was like a week ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the U.S. U18 program won a gold medal. They beat the Czechs. I think they beat them 5-1 in the championship game.
5-1.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they dominated the whole run. I mean, I can go on here and look at the scores.
Yeah. What birth year is that? U18.
So this year was 06, 07, and I think they had 2 08s in their roster.
Which is like what age?
What age group?
18. So.
Yeah. So that would be 18, 17, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty impressive, but I mean, I think that's necessarily it kind of leads into our back half of the conversation we're talking about women's hockey in the U.S. and the growth of it, I suppose, and how that transitions to the women's hockey plays for professional hockey. But the U.S. team has always been pretty dominant for U.S., at least the U.S. juniors.
Where was that game hosted?
That was hosted in Switzerland.
So these like 16, 17, 18-year-olds are traveling the world, playing hockey and dominating.
Yeah, they're just.
That's pretty awesome. I did not have a passport when I was that age.
Yeah, I'm sure it's an amazing experience for them. But also, I think what's interesting about that is, typically like women would, all these women I think will have a good chance to end up in Division I hockey if they have the right committed.
Yeah.
But now, I think it used to be the goal. Most women have, to play Division I hockey and then work toward playing on the Olympic team. And, now obviously I'm sure it's still a goal for many of them, but there's also a chance to play professionally for some of them, back at home, which wasn't the case a couple of years ago. So I think, having the PWHL has kind of opened a few different doors and made different avenues for players, and players who maybe weren't ever going to play for their Olympic team now still have a chance to pursue professional hockey in the U.S.
Well, even women who would play on the Olympic team, like, and you have to forgive me because I was really into books and music when I was a kid, never really sports. The Olympics is once every 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like the chance, even if you are an Olympic athlete and make that team, and you talked about this a little bit last time, the lifespan of a professional athlete, if you're breaking it down and you only get to perform once every 4 years, those opportunities, there's only so many spaces on a team and you're only doing it once every 4 years. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's opportunities for, players who might not necessarily make it to that Olympic stage, and obviously there are a lot of ex-Olympic athletes.
Well, even that, but there's a chance for those women to have more consistent competition, and maybe even I would suppose development between that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's exciting, but to me, like, women's hockey has been a huge growth, a huge probably gold star for USA Hockey for years now. PWHL has only exemplified that for how exciting the games are and the skill level of the players in it. So again, I think just for these young women, at least from Team USA now, like, obviously college is a huge focus, but now like they can start thinking like, all right, look at the men's team, like most of those kids are all drafted in the NHL already. So now maybe you start seeing that for the women's as you start seeing some of these girls being drafted, and now you see not just for only Team USA, but all these other teams, especially the Czechs have been a dominant program for women's hockey, but now you see maybe all these girls being drafted, and now we talk about like whoever it may be is also a draft pick for X, Y, and Z,
Mm-hmm.
playing in the World U18 Juniors. So
Yeah.
it changes the landscape a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of the games being exciting, we are going this coming week to go watch our
Mm-hmm.
first PWHL game. I think, are we like, now, here's a hot take, and this is something we did not discuss beforehand. We're Minnesota fans, right? Is that how that works, like by proximity? Or,
Are they playing Toronto?
well, that was going to be my next question because you are a
Yeah.
Leafs fan, right? Die hard.
I don't know. I've been very disappointed for
I
many
don't get
years.
it, but
So
you're a Leafs fan through and through.
yeah.
So are we Minnesota fans? We're married. We have to like the same team, right? Or does that not? I don't know. Again, I liked books and music.
This sounds like this could be opening Pandora's box for so many couples. I think we would just be Minnesota fans.
Okay, because
So
they're the only games we're going to be able to go to.
yeah.
So unless they're playing Toronto, in which case you're jumping ship, or is that like?
Well,
I feel like
I like Toronto because of the players I watched when I was really young.
but
Like
we're talking about female hockey. We're not talking about men's hockey.
yeah, but I mean that you asked why I was a Toronto fan. So like Matt Dean was one of my favorite players growing up.
Mm,
Um, so I would just say we're Minnesota fans and go support them, support the home team.
yeah. I've been keeping a big I've been keeping track of the website, the PWHL website in Minnesota storefront specifically. And we talked about this a little bit before. You can't buy any PWHL merch right now. It is
Mm-hmm.
all sold out. Except I think like the $12 PWHL official puck. You can't get anything. Um, which one speaks to how excited people are in general, but I think speaks to the power um, women have as a consumer group right now. Like we talked about a couple controversies, but to keep it positive, like everyone in 2023, the focus was Taylor Swift Eras Tour, right? If you don't live under a rock, you know that Taylor Swift went on tour this year. Um, Not only is she one of like the top earning celebrities right now, I'm sure she blows that out of the water, like only second to Beyonce, maybe. But entire empires are built because they are backed by women, because the crowd and audience is of women. Spending power behind women right now is just, it can't be questioned, right? And
Mm-hmm.
these stores, I think, and I hope, are going to be sold out all season long. I hope when we go, we can get some merch because I would like to get
Yeah.
my hands on some. Hopefully, they keep some in reserve for actual like game day. I'm
Yeah,
sure they
I'm
have
sure. I'm sure
to.
they have to.
Selfishly, I want. I don't want to pay for shipping, and
Yeah.
it's all sold out anyway. But so I'm really excited to go. One, because I want a T-shirt, so bring some cash for me.
Okay.
And
R.I.P. to
I just,
Coffins.
I really do think it's awesome to see the power of women being recognized. Like we vote with our dollar, right? And I think women are really getting behind, women and men are getting behind this league in a way that matters. It's going to keep it going, and that's with financial support, right? I think like a sweatshirt on that website costs $90, and am I upset by that? No, I'm not. Would I be upset to pay $90 for any other sweatshirt in the world? Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't care that they're charging that. I would happily pay that. Do you have $90?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess maybe it's an old word or saying, but it used to be, maybe it's an old word saying, I suppose, but it used to be a saying where behind every great man is a great woman
Mm.
in the shadows. So it's probably some old world mindset because obviously that's not the day we live in. But I think you speak a lot of truth there to the spending power of women of driving an industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we look at the fan base. I mean, I think the fan base is all over the place, women and men. But I think definitely like it speaks to like the power of women,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's just the spending power of the household,
Mm-hmm.
usually being dictated by women for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think like just the excitement and outreach. Um, you have a lot of not only moms out there excited for their daughters to get opportunity, but I mean, you can look at I'm sure there's a ton of men, even men who professional hockey players like me, and I think of John Scott, for example, who was a fighter in the NHL, is an enforcer. I listen to his podcast, and I think he's got
Oh, you're saying he's
4.
like a big teddy bear, right?
Well, he seems like just generally a great human
A good
being.
dude, yeah.
Did what he had to do, obviously, to have a career, but I think he's got 4 or 5 daughters.
Yeah.
And I think for most men in those positions originally, like, I mean, you love to share the game, even like me sharing the game with our daughter, but never really thought, they would ever make anything of it besides maybe going to college
Because
one
you
day.
couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't. But okay, so talking about legacy here for a second, meaning like daughters of pro NHLers. We were talking about Alex Carpenter, right? Doesn't she have a brother and a dad
I think her
in
father
pro?
played professionally,
So I
and
was
her
listening.
brother plays in the NHL, I
I was
believe.
listening to a
Yeah.
sports commentator. She's from Boston College. She had more goals scored in Boston College. She holds record not for women, men and women. Top goals scored in Boston College. Period.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. That's truly incredible to me. But, speaking of, guys who are in the game professionally or not professionally, it doesn't really matter. Um, I'm kind of wondering your take on it's like chicken before the egg situation, right? Like we're seeing all these other sports create opportunities for women, right? There's pro women's almost everything else, right? Almost everything else. I'm sure there's some dark spots in there. But is it do you think it's guys like you who grew up loving the game and they're having daughters in a world now where they're seeing opportunities for women everywhere else. So it's no longer just, okay, I have a daughter, so we need to go buy figure skates, right? It's why don't we buy her hockey skates? Because girls are doing everything else now. Why can't they play hockey? I love hockey. Maybe she likes hockey. Maybe we share this together. Do you think that's what opened the doors for the PHL? Or do you think the PHL is going to cause more of that, right? Do you think the pro league is going to start more from a youth level, or do you think the growing youth level has led up to the opportunity for the PWHL to exist and thrive today?
Well, I guess to break down your question, I think there's lots of different parts of that probably
It was
answer it.
long-winded. You're right.
Where we take apart, like, whether it's having fathers who play the games or mothers who play the games and want to share that with their daughters. I don't know if any parent really goes. I mean, I can only speak to experience of our daughter, and
We
only
want
two and
them
a
to like
half.
what they like, and we'll support them
Sure,
regardless. But
but from everyone
our
I've
daughter has full hockey
yeah,
gear.
but
Let's be
from
honest.
everyone I know who played the game, whether it was professionally or in the college or whatnot, that have daughters, they never really try to get their daughters involved with it because they think they're gonna make a career out of it. I don't think any parent should. I think the percentage of boys playing in NHL is below 1%. It's
Yeah.
like 0.5% of kids that want to play to
Yeah.
the NHL
Like
play
I'm
in
sure we're
NHL.
gonna.
But I think it's like to share something that you're passionate about and you can share with your child. It's the same thing like, parents who have, you know,
I'm
if
sure
I'm a
we're.
Toronto fan, am I gonna share it with my daughter? Like,
Yeah.
we root for the same team and we watch games. It's something you can share with your kids. So I'm sure that's part of it. One, to share the game that you enjoy and have those moments and that bond. Um, there might be some parents who are few with the idea their kid's gonna make it one day, but I don't think that's the right approach in my opinion, in my experience in
You
hockey.
can have faith in your kid, but also be
You can, but
realistic
don't get
there.
your
Yeah.
kids involved in the sport, especially youth level. Thing like,
Yeah. Yeah.
enjoy the journey. It's not about the ending because vast majority of kids will not play professionally. I think, well, USA Hockey, and really your second part of that question, like, I think USA Hockey has put a lot of eggs in the basket to grow to grow women's hockey. It's been steadily for the last 10 years, the biggest growth in USA Hockey has been in the female game. I was looking at some statistics before we came on here, and it said there's 559,000 participants in USA Hockey,
Oh my gosh.
and women only make up 16% of that. So 6% of everyone who's registered in USA Hockey, not just
or
16.
16. Okay.
Yeah. But still, that every year is the biggest growth. So I think that's something pretty important.
So there's a lot of room for that to get even bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And humble
You just see, and I
brag.
think like you look at like what USA Hockey has done at the youth level, especially the ADM models. more focused on skill and getting more girls involved.
ADM models.
Yeah, the ADM is like USA Hockey is like development
Model. Okay.
Um,
For those of us who aren't in the biz.
yeah, good point. So I think because they've really emphasized the growth, and not just girls hockey, but like hockey for underprivileged communities. They've really tried to focus that, and there's been a lot of former NHL players that contributed to that kind of made a big impact.
Yeah.
But I think with that being the place, we talked about the U18 program, the Olympic program for U.S. dominating for years now, the better part of a decade. I think it was only natural that this was about to come about in the growth of hockey. Part of it is because like the National Hockey League has grown so much now, and they keep expanding it. There's obviously a place and interest for the growth of hockey in the game, and now with the number of women that are playing in, the skill and ability, again, if it's a good business decision, like why wouldn't you do it? So I think
and we're coming back to like the spending power of women, right? Like
yeah. So I think it's just a landscape that's kind of been shaped. It wasn't like an organic path for it to take.
And now that we have both, like obviously we just hope to see like the PWHL feeding youth hockey growth and everything in between, right?
Yeah.
There's so much between professional and learn to skate, right? But hopefully we just see this like mutually beneficial revving up where it all just grows.
Well,
grows
and I think it will. I mean, you give a lot of these when you look at, and again, I'm only going off when I watch on TV right now until we go watch the game. I don't think it's going to change too much, but you look at all these like young girls going to these games here who I imagine play hockey. And I think like you're gonna have so many more families now. Like USA Hockey does Try Hockey for Free Day, which is a wonderful event, and it's a great way to grow the game of hockey at the youth level.
I'm on all of these mom Facebook groups all around here, and the amount of posts I saw about Try Hockey Free, like everyone loved it. People who have zero interest in hockey on a normal, otherwise day, and I'm sure it ropes a lot of kids in, which is exactly what it's meant to do, right? Because it's fun and low pressure and all of this and that. But I was kind of taken aback because they did Try Hockey Free in Toma, Sparta, lacrosse. It was all across our community. And so many people were excited about it. Humble brag, I am a graduate of Learn to Skate. I've got my own little figure skates, hockey skates, much to your chagrin, but I benefited from it too. So
yeah.
I can do my backwards crossovers. Don't you
but
worry
again,
about
like
it.
you only got again. You never skated growing up or anything like that, but like you.
Oh yes, I did this at the ripe age of 28.
Yeah, but you were only driven to do that because you knew that I was gonna,
Have a
not
win in
that
my
I'm gonna
skate.
push hockey on my kids, but
she's
I
2
wanted to
years
try.
old. She's 2 years old and she has head to toe full gear.
Yeah, I mean it's something we can share, and she somewhat
And
seems
I
to
didn't want
enjoy
to get
it.
left behind.
Right, and you want to be able to go on the ice. So for that reason alone, like it's a good example of maybe like women in the older ages getting involved, and even when we were living in Virginia Beach, I was teaching that adult learn to play, and there were a lot of women that did that class. And a lot of it was like some of them played, but some of them never played, and they just wanted to try hockey and be involved with it because either their kids did it or their husband did it,
or just a way to have something for themselves,
or something was just a way to have exercise. But it's something I even remember speaking about it with our ownership at one point because something I noticed where we like as far as like people who would re-sign up, continue as a class, it was always like the majority, like the women were always really committed to doing it. Which I couldn't always say that about some of the men. So, but I think again that shows you like we talk about the spending power of women.
And the stereotype that men have commitment issues.
Yeah, well,
not you.
I didn't go there with that, but
I did. It's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, but I think again that shows like when we talk about at least from a sustainability point of view for women's hockey, especially professionally. I think women, if they something they feel passionate about, are going to put their dollars behind it and support it. Yeah, and I think you kind of see that right now.
Literally, I essentially told you that we're driving 2.5 hours away.
You did.
Leaving our kids somewhere because the game still starts till 7. Otherwise, we take our daughter. We've already committed to a $90 sweatshirt. We're probably going to have a couple drinks, a responsible amount. We're paying for the tickets, which are insanely reasonable. Like, that's a big time commitment. That's a big money commitment, and I am so excited to do it. Normally our date nights are like maybe $25 and 2 glasses of wine. Like it's, but I don't care. Like it's such a cause that let's throw money at it. Throw money at it. I want to support it the best I can. Even though we have to take half a day to go do it, it's just more time with you. I'm really excited about it. And it certainly won't be the last game we go to. All right. Well, speaking of hockey, I see your phone blowing up, so you might need to skedaddle out of here.
Yeah.
Don't want you to miss a call from the
I'm always on the clock.
Right. Well, save up your pennies for our date night. We're going to Minnesota on Wednesday, and we'll record our next pod on Thursday. So we'll have a lot to discuss.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you take some videos.
Yeah, maybe I'll get an autograph. Do you think?
Maybe you get an autograph. Maybe you get a broken stick.
No, we gotta get a sign. We gotta make a sign.
Want a sign that says my first PWHL
I don't know.
game?
Like I'll put us on the demo. I'll try the kiss cam. Maybe I want to go.
I can't wait.
I want to go on the kiss cam with you.
Yeah, it'd be
what
fun.
Are you gonna do? Just go in my face?
Should I?
Knowing you would do something like that.
Or just be on my phone the whole time.
You'd be like,
You come near, I'm like, no. And then everyone's like, boo.
You would do something like that.
No, I wouldn't do that.
100% knowing you.
I'm a good husband.
Well, we gotta get a sign so we end up, and then we can dance. If you dance, they'll definitely put you on.
Yeah, I'll leave the dancing for you. I don't know.
No, because if there's a boring guy next to me, then they're not gonna put me on the jumbotron.
Oh, so I'm boring.
Well, if you're not dancing,
I see. Okay.
Just sit there eating your bread.
Oh, I hope they have brats.
Of course they do. Where do you think we're going?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll take some videos and we'll have a lot to discuss.
Yeah,
it's
going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We will catch you next time here on the Forward Focus podcast.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
I don't even think our moms listen to this.